Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles, sponsored once again by my most excellent friends over at Nordpass. Christmas is fast approaching. Have you been naughty? Have you been nice? Let's be honest, nobody really cares. You can still get 70% off a 2-year Nordpass premium plan by going to nordpass.com/jingles and using code JINGLES. Plus, they're throwing in 1 month for free, and if, after having tried it, you decide that it's just not for you, there is also a 30-day money-back guarantee. Have you ever stopped to think about what might happen if somebody got access to one of your social media accounts? Let's say, for example, Facebook. Hackers would get a free shot at every account that was linked to that social media account. And we're not just talking here about things like credit card details, if you've ever made a purchase on that social media site, which would also give them delivery addresses, all kinds of good stuff. There are worse things that could happen, ranging from identity theft, loans taken out in your name, crimes committed under your name, all kinds of bad shit. Nordpass can help you avoid that. It generates and manages secure, uncrackable passwords for every single online account that you have, which you can access over up to 6 devices, mobile included, so that in the rare event that any of them actually get breached, you don't immediately expose the integrity of every other online account that you have because you were a doofus like me and you used the same password for everything for 15 years. The only thing that you need to remember is your one master password. I mean, if you're using Nord on a mobile device, you don't even need to remember that. You can just use your device's biometric security. All of your passwords, all of your logins are encrypted. And Nord uses zero-knowledge architecture, so even they don't know what your passwords and logins are. I was fortunate enough to have installed Nordpass just a couple of weeks before that massive Twitch data breach, which followed hot on the heels of yet another massive Google data breach, because, Google gets hacked all the time. And sure enough, the login details that I was using on Twitch were, look, I'm not proud of it, okay? They were pretty much the same login details that I've been using just about everywhere else for the best part of the last 15 years. If I'd had to take care of that massive security hole all by myself, it would have taken days, and I would have probably not caught everything. I would have probably not done a very good job of coming up with secure passwords. But I had Nord installed, so I didn't have to do it myself. Nord took care of all the legwork for me, and did a far, far better job than I would have done by myself. So, if you're convinced, nordpass.com/jingles, use code JINGLES to get 70% off a 2-year Nordpass premium plan with a month for free. If you're still sitting on the fence about it, give it a try. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. But I kind of think you probably will. Right, Mingles with Jingles, guest starring Eddie, take 2, after the lights failed. We had to start again from scratch.
You're doing well.
Yes. So, Eddie's back, as you can see, and we were talking about when was the last time we did this, and you reckon it was...
I reckon it was 2020. It was the last time we actually did this,
Yeah.
Although we did do the Hot Wings challenge on your other channel.
Yeah, which doesn't really count. I mean, it does, because it's video, but...
Yeah, but all we talked about was Hot Wings.
Was Hot Wings. And
we went in there with lots of things to talk about and literally just talked about the thing we were supposed to talk
that's
about.
That's right. Which
ignored everything else.
Which is not usually what happens in Mingles with Jingles. Was it? No, it couldn't have been when we were testing your pear cider. We did more since then.
I don't think we have. I think that was the last one.
Well, that's kind of fortuitous, because guess what? He's tried again.
Yes.
This is the please don't let this be vinegar again, Perry. You can see that.
I had the labels made specially.
Yes, because the last time it was basically vinegar, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I went first.
Yes.
And I got a mouthful.
Yeah.
So you're going first this time.
Yeah, I'm going first this time.
And if this is vinegar, we have backups.
Yeah. As we did last year, quite rightfully.
Yes.
To be fair to last year's vinegar, it was very good for cooking pulled pork.
It was a very, very excellent cooking vinegar. It just was the world's worst cider.
Yes. Absolutely. Now, before we start, this should be a little bit fizzy, but I don't think it is.
No, it doesn't look it.
I've gone out of my way to try and keep all the bacteria out of this.
So it's a cloudy cider this time around.
And
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I've there's so much less than that I made last year because there's just...
Eddie, stop procrastinating and just get on with it.
Okay, here goes. Moment of truth.
Oh,
it fizzed! Oh, God.
It fizzed all over the table.
Right, it's definitely fizzy. I definitely got that bit right.
Yeah. So I'm going to go and get a lot of napkins.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Because about a third of that is now outside of the bottle. So it's a good start.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a sec.
We'll put that down there because you're going to want to open your one in a minute. Or not.
But it depends what that one tastes like.
Okay.
Smells good though.
It does smell really good. You ready for
Go
my
on.
round? It's cider. It is actually cider. There's no vinegar taste.
Alright. I'm not sure about this part.
I'm a little nervous about this.
I may need a bucket. Spread the cloth out.
Yeah. Get the electronics well away from
Remove
it.
the electronics.
Alright, here we go.
Oh. Okay, it's fizzy. I'm just going to let that...
Yeah, let that procrastinate for a
I'm
second.
just going to let that go.
It's not very good, I'm not going to lie. It's not an amazing Perry.
Alright, but it is at least
But it is at least Perry.
what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
Alright, moment of truth, here we go.
Yeah. It smells better than it tastes.
Oh, that's really worrying because it doesn't smell that good. There's always next year, Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what this actually reminds me of now?
What's that?
Do you remember when we tried all the lovely hot wings
Yeah.
and then we had your one and it wasn't bad, but it just didn't live up to real...
Yeah, let's get a proper drink.
Yeah. Thank God it's not vinegar.
Well,
but
no, it lives up to its "Please don't let this be vinegar again" title. It isn't vinegar. It's just not very good cider. So,
yeah.
same time next year.
Yeah, why not? Would you like one of these or do you want one of your...
Oh, because I've got the glass for it. I think I'll have one of my Leffe brands.
I'll do what I did last year and have another Hunter's, I think.
Hang on a minute. How long have you had those?
No, these are not the same
These
ones.
aren't the ones I got you for Christmas.
No. They were long gone.
Last year.
No, they are long gone. Don't you worry about that. These are...
Eventually, we'll get on to the topic of conversation, which I've completely
that's
forgotten.
so much better.
Yeah, it's Hunter's Gold. That's the Australian cider, isn't it?
No.
Or South African, sorry.
Yeah.
The Southern continent, same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you absolutely definitely have to drink cider, Hunter's is so good.
you genuinely should get them to sponsor you every time I'm on because we can't stop singing their praises.
Extremely nice cider. I first drank that, well, it was in South Africa. Oh, would have been 1986, 1985. I was underage, of course, at a party in Swaziland, which is where we lived during the school holidays, and somebody had a case of Hunter's cider, and it was the most delicious cider I've ever tasted. It still is. On the other hand, if you must have beer, German, Belgian, or Czech.
Yes.
I mean, we do some nice ales.
Yeah.
But German, Belgian, or Czech. So this is my my Belgian beer. Cheers. Oh yeah. I first had this stuff when I was doing the Operation Market Garden road trip with Roy.
Yeah.
We stopped for the night in Calais, and there was it wasn't really a hotel. It was an inn with a few rooms, and that's where we had this stuff for the first time. Bloody nice. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Oh, t-shirts. Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast. And Expanse fans, MCRN Rocinante. Oh, the final, well, not the final, the latest season is out. First 2 episodes have aired. I know. See, I watch them when they come out. So there's a new episode every Friday. Eddie will wait until the full season's out and then he'll binge.
Yeah, it has to be incredibly good for me to be able to watch it week by week. I got halfway through The Mandalorian and lost track of it.
What?
And that's amazing. And yeah, the first 4 episodes came out and then I lost track of it and I only watched it when the second series came out. And
So you finished off the first season and then binged the second season.
And binged the second season. And
That's one way to do it.
yeah, but I very easily lose track of things if my life gets in the way.
Well, the funny thing was, because obviously the Expanse is based on a series of novels by, well, the pen name is S.A. Corey, which is the pen name of 2 writers, Ty Frank and I can't remember the name of the other one. But they got taken on as consultants for the show. And the funny thing was, the final book came out on the same day that the first episode of the latest season came out. So I've been having a bit of an Expanse binge. And the latest season is very good, although they've had to... There was the whole... I can't remember the name of the actor, the guy who played Alex Kamal, the pilot of the Rocinante.
Okay.
Who is one of only 3 characters, minor spoiler here, one of only 3 characters from the Rocinante crew who makes it all the way to the end unchanged in the books, and they fired the actor for sexual misconduct. And they're not replacing him with somebody else playing the same character. They killed the character off at the end of the last season.
So they can't really...
They can't just do a James Bond and hire a different actor to play the same character. So he's gone. Which is a bit of a bummer, because he's a very, very good character. But and he's still there for all the rest of the books. So now they're
they're going to have to Game of Thrones it and go their own way.
Yeah, which will be curious. But anyway, yeah, it's really, really good. If you like your hard science fiction, where everything works exactly the way things should, according to Newtonian physics. The one thing that a bit of magic hand waving, is what exactly the Epstein drive runs on. Yeah. And it runs on magic, basically.
Yes.
But apart from that, everything in the Expanse works exactly the way it should in space.
It's your 2001 Space Odyssey type
with
film,
railguns
but in a series
and particle projector cannons, and it's just amazing. So yeah, definitely. But a lot of people have been saying to me, Jingles, you're going to be watching the next season? Of course I'm going to be watching the next season of The Expanse. It's The Expanse. And now I've read all the books, so I know exactly what's supposed to happen, and they have been pretty faithful to the book so far. But again, I don't want to wander off into spoiler territories. But if you've been waiting for the final book to come out, it is out. It's been out about a week and a half now. And it is very, very good. Moving on, however, onto stuff that we did actually plan to talk about.
It's unlike us.
This, I know. Don't worry, it won't last. Good old game. This is something that you might actually be interested in, because you're no longer a glorious member of the PC gaming master race, are you? You're not even a console peasant.
Yeah.
You're a mobile pleb.
Yeah, I started off on consoles. You converted me to the way of the master race, PC, and then I sort of slid out of it accidentally.
Yeah. You bypassed consoles all the way to the mobile phone market.
Well, I started with consoles. So.
Yeah, but you made it up to the pinnacle and then
I then
back
fell
down.
past consoles down to mobile phones, yeah.
Well, anyway, Good Old Games is having their winter sale. They've got 3,500 PC titles discounted. Like, massively discounted. And PC Gamer did a curated... not quite review, but they curated a bunch of titles, all of the ones that they awarded a score of 90% or higher to, that are available in this sale. So you've got stuff like Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition for $4.49.
Nice.
Sid Meier's Civ 4 Complete Edition, $3.79.
Wow.
Yeah, I know you like your Civilization.
I really, really do.
Yeah. Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut, $1.99.
Wow.
Yeah. Disco Elysium, the final cut. One of the best games I've ever played. Easily in my top 5. $15.79. It hasn't been out 10 years unlike some of these games.
Yeah.
But that's still a good price.
Civilization. Out for like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
But
Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, an amazing game if you haven't played it, $11.99. Dragon Age Origins, $3.79. Full Throttle Remastered, Grim Fandango Remastered. Okay, you've got to go back a while to remember these games, but these were the last LucasArts. Well, actually, they were known as Lucasfilm Games back then, but they were known for the amazing quality of their adventure games. And these were the two, arguably, well, I don't know, Day of the Tentacle was pretty amazing, and then Monkey Island 1 and 2 were incredible as well. But in the top 5, you've got Full Throttle and Grim Fandango. They've been remastered, so they work on modern PCs, and you can get them both for $10.99 or $9.99. Homeworld, the remastered collection, so all the Homeworld games remastered for modern PCs, $26.99. You've got Kerbal Space Program, $7.49. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that's a blast from the past, 2003, $2.69.
Wow.
Medal of Honor Allied Assault War Chest, $1.89. I mean, the list goes on. Metro 2033 Redux, £3.
All prices are in sterling. If
Yes.
this is
So, just, I don't know, maybe if I say £3, you're probably looking at $5, something like that.
yeah,
We've got SWAT 4 Gold Edition, $3.99. System Shock 2, oh my god, what a game. $1.79. Admittedly, it did come out in 1999. They're doing a remaster. Well, not so much a remaster. The original. Do you even know what System Shock is?
no,
Okay.
not even slightly.
System Shock was from Looking Glass Interactive. The original System Shock probably came out in like 1997 or something like that. And you were basically a hacker who was in suspended animation on board this space station.
Yeah,
And you got woken up. There was like when a certain condition arose, you would be brought out of suspended animation, and
Yeah.
that condition arose, and you come out of hypersleep, and the station has gone to shit.
the fit has hit the shan.
The fit has well and truly hit the shan, and the station AI has gone doolally and has killed everything and blah blah and this and that and so on and so on. And it featured, like, people talk about how Deus Ex was the first game that allowed you to like play the game the way you wanted to. If you wanted to go in all guns blazing, you can do that. If you want to be sneaky, stealthy, and backstabby, you can do that. If you want to break and
Yeah.
be a rogue and tinker and break your way in, and you could do that. If you wanted to hack, you could do that. But System Shock did all of that like 8 years before Deus Ex. It was an amazing game. A couple of years back, they remastered it so it would work on modern PCs,
Yeah,
and it still looked like a game from 1997.
yeah.
And some of the gameplay mechanics have not aged well. But I can't remember the name of the game developers. They're doing a complete, like, proper remaster
Yeah.
with current generation graphics.
So like they did with the Tony Hawk's games.
Yes, like they did with the Tony Hawk's games on console, where they remastered Tony Hawk 1 and 2
Yeah.
for PlayStation 4 and 5. They're doing that for PC, and honestly, this game is just astonishingly good. But you can get the sequel for $1.79 at the moment. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Game of the Year Edition, $14.99. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year Edition, £7. Star Wars X-Wing vs TIE Fighter, holy shit, there's a 1997 game, but that's only $2.69. XCOM 2, whoa, holy shit. XCOM 2 came out in 2016 and is still a great game, and you can get it for $3.49. Holy shit. Oh, and then of course you've got Blizzard Activision doing Blizzard Activision things. Diablo plus the Hellfire expansion, which came out in 1996, and they want £6 for it. So, which is about 3 times what it's worth.
Fair enough.
And the list goes on and on and on. All of these games got a 90% or higher review on PC Gamer, and they're all discounted. And I think the sale is going on until the 5th of January. So there's just some amazing games here.
And where did you find all this?
I got this on the PC Gamer website, but just go to Good Old Games. In fact, I might put a link in the video description so you can get the curated list and pick the ones that you want. But there's some amazing value for money here, with some just astonishingly good games. Oh, What Remains of Edith Finch. Oh, it's one of the best games I've ever played as well. You can get that for $4.49. Oh, that's also available on Steam, and it wasn't that expensive to begin with. But yeah, So there you go. If you've got some spare cash, which is unlikely,
Think about what time of year it is.
given the time of year and the current economic situation. But well, we're talking like £2 a game here.
Yeah, I suppose.
So
The change
Treat
down the
yourself.
back of the sofa.
yeah, exactly. Treat yourself. There's some amazing games on that list. So normally at this point, I actually have a script. Well, not a script, but I have a bunch of talking points and notes. And I didn't bother doing that this time. So I'm struggling to remember what it was we were going to talk about next. And then I remembered, actually, two topics that I tend to stay away from in Mingles with Jingles: politics and religion. But I'm aware that most of you are probably not paying attention to British politics, because normally it's really boring, and American politics are usually far, far more entertaining, and everybody reports on them. And, say what you like about Donald Trump. Love him, hate him, agree, disagree. He was unique. And he was an endless source of entertainment.
Yeah, definitely entertaining.
Yeah, because it didn't matter what he said or did. Well, it didn't matter what he did. It rarely tallied up with what he said he did. And he didn't care if he got called out on it. He would just deny it.
He'd just call fake news and...
Call it fake news, deny it, and then just ignore it. And he was kind of a genius, really.
Yeah.
I've never known a politician like him. And then, we've got Boris Johnson, old Bojo.
Budget Trump.
Yeah, Budget Trump, who has just been stumbling along from one disaster to another. And then I don't know if this is what's actually going to be the thing that takes him down. But here in the UK, the political news for the last couple of weeks has been absolutely hilarious. Let me just try to encapsulate for you what's been going on with the British government over the course of the last 2 weeks. So the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, was he actually elected, by the way? Or were the Conservatives in power and he just won the leadership of the Conservatives?
He won the leadership. That's how it always works in Britain. We don't vote for a leader. We vote for the...
Yeah, we're not like in America, where you vote for your...
the House.
Your congressman, and you vote for your senators, and then you vote for your president. We don't do that. Boris Johnson was never elected Prime Minister. So the way it works in this country is we have a general election, and whichever political party wins the election, the leader of that party becomes the Prime Minister. You don't vote for the Prime Minister, you vote for the party. And then if that party wins the election and gets the majority, then that party's leader becomes the Prime Minister for the next 4 years. But what happened was our Conservative Party Prime Minister was David Cameron, wasn't it? Oh, wait, no, there was Cameron and... Oh, I don't know.
Cameron, then Theresa May.
Then Theresa May. The Conservative Prime Ministers have been in power for, like, I don't know, the last 10 years?
Since 2010.
Yeah, so going on 12 years now. They kept messing up and having to resign and being replaced, and then there was this big leadership challenge within the party, and then somebody else would become the leader of the party.
The leadership challenge was described as like that scene in Reservoir Dogs where everybody's pointing guns at everybody else, and everybody's shot, and Theresa May was left standing.
Yeah,
and then somehow she decided, I won that easily. I'll try again,
and so that's how you end up with an unelected Prime Minister. Right, what the one who won the election screws up, has to resign. Somebody else wins the leadership challenge, and then by default becomes the new Prime Minister. And that's basically how Boris Johnson became the Prime Minister. So he's effectively an unelected Prime Minister, and he's just been going from one scandal to another. But what's happened? This one is just hilarious. So you're aware that there have been various different lockdowns over the course of the last 2 years, thanks to this unspecified virus of undetermined origin. And last Christmas, this country spent last Christmas in lockdown, Christmas 2020, which meant that people were in hospital dying, and their next of kin couldn't visit them.
No.
People were dying in hospital alone. Families were separated at Christmas. And it has come out that members of this government were having parties, which was strictly against the law, in government. So the Prime Minister's first reaction was to deny it. No, that never happened. And then the videos and the photographs started coming out of people laughing at these parties and saying, "This isn't a party, it's a business meeting," knocking back the drinks with their silly hats on. So then when this came out, he commissioned an inquiry because the Metropolitan Police refused to investigate it because they said there wasn't enough evidence. I was under the impression it was the police's job to find the evidence, but apparently, whatever. So the Prime Minister then commissioned a party investigation to determine whether or not he'd been lying when he said that there were no parties. Oh, and he also said that there were no parties, but if there were any parties, they didn't breach any of the COVID lockdown rules. Then he appointed an inquiry to investigate whether or not he'd been telling the truth when he said that there were no parties.
And who was that person?
And the person that he appointed, to lead the investigation. And remember, this is the Conservative Party investigating itself. So that's totally unbiased, isn't it? But the man that he appointed to lead the investigation into whether or not the Conservative Party and the Prime Minister had been lying about whether or not they were breaching lockdown restrictions by having parties while other people were dying in hospital without their next of kin able to see them, is now had to step down from being in charge of the investigation because it turns out he was one of the ones who was at the parties. So,
the parties that didn't happen.
They didn't happen, but if they did happen, they didn't breach any of the lockdown rules.
But he was there if they did happen, but they didn't happen.
Yes.
But he has to stand down because they didn't happen and he wasn't there.
So now you've got all kinds of Conservative members of Parliament all saying, they're all talking leadership challenge now. So I think this may be the straw that breaks this government's back. And I think it's hilarious. There was a British comedian called Russell Howard who's fantastic, and he was talking about, because people are pissed off about this.
Yeah, rightly so.
Yeah. Because there's videos of people laughing at these parties held at number 10 Downing Street, while people were dying in hospital alone and their next of kin weren't allowed to see them because of the lockdown rules. And there has apparently been 1 million people. Oh, and this was the other thing. Because there is no lockdown this Christmas. Yet. However, the Prime Minister... Yes.
Remember, it was 3 days before Christmas when they did it last time.
Yeah, true. So, there isn't a lockdown this Christmas yet. There may be one because apparently he's... When I say he, I mean the Prime Minister has said that he wants people... he's not going to enforce a lockdown this Christmas yet, but he wants people to work from home and we're allowed to go to parties. Because people in this country are always a lot more responsible when they've been drinking alcohol, aren't they? So that makes perfect sense. However, 1 million people have apparently come out and said that they are going to have a party outside number 10 Downing Street in London, the Prime Minister's residence.
Downing Street party.
They're going to have a Downing Street party on Christmas Eve, and if the police try to intervene, they're just going to say, "Oh no, Constable, this isn't a party, it's a business meeting." And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't worry, America. I realise that, your politics haven't really been a source of much global entertainment over the last year or so, but Britain's there to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy. You couldn't make it up. And on that bombshell, I think I'm going to knock this episode of Mingles on the head, the last episode of 2021. I'm going to be taking my Christmas break now.
Merry New Year, everyone.
Merry New Year, everybody. And I'll be back, I think, on the 3rd of January, or the first Monday in January, with the next episode of Mingles with Jingles. So I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, whether you celebrate...
Merry whatever doesn't offend you.
Merry whatever the hell you celebrate. And a safe and prosperous year to all. So it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
Yes. Good night. Take care, folks.